Joey sending out an SOS, sending out an SOS, sending out an SOS, message on the window for the police to see. Remember when Daisy Ridley was in better movies than this? What the fuck is Martin Campbell doing directing stuff like this? He did a couple Bond films and now it's slop like this. Cleaner was directed by Martin Campbell, who did Vertical Limit that wasn't all that great, but has a soft place in my heart. Not just because I have a soft spot for Robin Tooney, but I digress. It was silly and ridiculous. He also did Goldeneye. He did Casino Royale. He did the two Zorro movies with Antonio Banderas and Captain Zeta-Jones, who, my goddamn goodness, me oh my, down on the bayou. She's not in this, but the incredibly talented and gorgeous Daisy Ridley is. But he also did Green Lantern, and he also did The Protégé. The Protégé, a film that was so unremarkable yet so goddamn shit, I wish I could forget that I ever saw it. This was written by 3 people. 3. Remember that. Remember that as I talk about this movie that could have been hacked out by anybody with half the brain that I have. Shrieking Sid Vicious noises. May the master and ruler of the world rest in peace. So, Daisy Ridley plays Joey Locke, who is a former military operative that now is a window cleaner in a movie called Cleaner. Slow down, movie. Make sure I can catch my breath with that revelation. And she has a brother named Michael that she's been taking care of. We see a brief glimpse into their early life in the opening scene. Obviously, their childhood. And now we see, Joey trying to take care of Michael, but also making sure she doesn't get fired from her job. But she's got bigger things to worry about because suddenly a group calling themselves the Earth Revolution, I think this movie put the Earth's, rotation off its goddamn axis. We are all going to die, and you know what? If I don't see another movie like Cleaner, I'll be happy about that. But nevertheless, a group led by Clive Owen. What the fuck has Clive Owen done to piss off the universe where he's in a film like this? And not even used to the peak of his powers. There's no Inside Man, no Children of Men, no Intruders. Was that the other one he was in? Yeah, he plays Marcus. He's leading this group, and they basically want to take down this energy company and expose their corruption. And Daisy Ridley is the only one that can fight back, save her brother, save hostages in there. And yeah, it's Die Hard and any concept of Die Hard and a bunch of other action movies. Human Centipede together and then presented in a pile of bullshit. Look, this movie's actually inoffensive if you think about it, but the fact that this movie, this fucking slop, this generic, just absolutely just, bland slop gets a theatrical release, and there are films, legit films, that struggle to get even a streaming date, even a streaming deal, despite the amount of effort that filmmakers put into that. It is remarkable that a film like this got released in theaters. The only reason I even went to watch it is because it was playing at the local theater in my area. If this was even playing 20 miles away, I wouldn't have fucking even bothered. I would have just waited for it to inevitably hit streaming in about 2 to 3 weeks. So yeah, she's a window cleaner and she must eventually get in. And when I say eventually, I mean it is basically just about an hour, if not a little more, before things ramp up. This film feels hacked to goddamn pieces, or maybe is just written by 3 people that understood what an action movie was because they saw one. They saw one while they were drunk and taking the goddamn piss. And yes, because it's British, I'm going to use some British slang. Look, I'm sure these are nice people that wrote this damn thing, but you have to be kidding me. Quiver Distribution did this, and yeah, I was just quivering at the thought that maybe somebody that was one of the many executive producers or producers, there were a lot of producers and executive producers listed. Forgot to type down exactly how many were there, but there were a lot. And this isn't good. This isn't good at all. There is one line in this, I'm going to spoil a few things, where there is an actress in here that plays Z, Flavia Watson, who is beautiful. Good grief. I would love to see her in more stuff. She at least seemed to understand the assignment. I swear I've seen her in something else, but nevertheless, she says, please tell me this shit show has a plan. The plan is to rip off every generic action movie that basically has been around since the 80s, 90s, and even the early 2000s. You do have Rufus Hold the R. Jones. Nobody is going to understand the Rufus R. Jones reference unless you are a deep-cut wrestling fan like myself. There is Lee Boardman. And there are credible actors in this, by the way, if you check this out. I just don't know what the fuck they were doing in this. Daisy Ridley deserves so much better. After Star Wars, and after being in one, God, what the fuck was it? It was Murder on the Orient Express that she was in. Because Death on the Nile had Gal Gadot in it. Because the difference is Daisy can act. Gal Gadot has been living off of one good role her entire career. Daisy Ridley is much better than this. I did not get a chance to see the one where she was playing the English Channel swimmer woman. I forgot what the fuck the name was. It's not Manchester by the Sea, but I digress. She has been kind of struggling to get back into better projects, and I don't understand why, because I'm not saying she's the most dynamic, most tremendous actress ever, but I think she's pretty goddamn good. She got way too much hate for what happened in the Star Wars trilogy. Bright, talented, absolutely stunning. And yeah, they don't use her to the peak of her powers at all. Clive Owen is barely in this. And Taz Skylar, he tried. He certainly tried. I don't know what the fuck he was trying to do. So yeah, that's all I gotta say. It's in theaters. It'll be on streaming soon if you want to check it out. 3, 2, 1, and spoilers. So, Clive Owen does not make it very far because Noah, a guy that was a coworker, that's the word I'm looking for, of Joey Locke, was put on the inside to basically bring this corporation the Aegean Energy or something like that. I don't know. Aiken. Clay Aiken's energy was brought down. Who remembers Clay Aiken? His career arc is more interesting than anything in this movie. I should have studied up on that. That being said, Noah takes over, and Michael is locked in the whole thing while she is caught on this lift and must figure out how to basically get inside. They eventually bring in a hostage negotiator. Since this is taking place in London or the environs, could be taking place in Belarus for all I goddamn know. She has basically negotiated a way to get inside and eventually take all this stuff down. Backing up to the beginning of the movie, we see a younger version of her sneaking around. She's a goddamn Spider-Woman. And there is implications of abuse with the son kind of being picked on. Her brother. And it turns out that Michael is autistic. Now, the thing is you can actually implement that and actually maybe not create drama so much or create a little bit of you want to see this person be okay, because depending on how far on the spectrum you are, wherever, it's still something that's wide. I know people that are autistic. I know people who have children that are. There's sensitivity stuff, and you have to figure out how to balance it. It just seems like they put that there just to say they put it there. And they didn't really do anything with it. He did have a Thor's hammer thing, because he's obsessed with Marvel movies. And after that very little bit, she wakes up 20 years later. I do have to say, the short haircut, Daisy Ridley can pull up any hair. She looks fucking great. So, she gets a call. She has to go take care of her brother, who kind of hacked into this one place that was taking care of him, a halfway house corporation, something, I don't really know, because he said they were stealing his money. I don't know how he's getting his money. I don't know if it's state government money. I don't have a goddamn clue. She ends up having to take him in, but she has to get her job or she's fired. Then this stuff happens. She has one brief interaction with Noah. There's a guy that takes care of Michael briefly. He doesn't want to be separated from her. I'm not even knocking the actor that plays, Michael. I thought he did fine, but they didn't allow any of these characters necessarily to breathe. You didn't necessarily care about Joey Locke's character, or, Daisy Ridley's character. And then the action doesn't even really ramp up. Clive Owen instantly gets taken out after they show up in weird kabuki mask-like things. They have enough gas canisters to knock people out, but then they have these breathing apparatus things that it's like this one anime where this girl had a roll in her mouth, and I don't really know how else to describe it. People, black hair, pink outfit, some goofy eyes and whatever, and I don't know what the hell it is. That's all I can describe it. So that's a deep cut for anime fans to figure that out. Nevertheless, the idea is they want to expose this energy company. Eco-terrorism is basically what it is. Now, Clive Owens, Marcus, has basically been wanting to just bring this company to their knees without killing people. And Noah kind of goes off on the goddamn deep end. Ends up killing one of the two brothers. That's Jeffrey. Jeffrey, calm down. Maybe I shouldn't reference that stand-up by that guy. And he gets choked on a wine bottle. Not like Sorority Row, where it was really goddamn hilarious. Fun fact, the girl that got choked on the wine bottle in Sorority Row actually ended up playing McGee's fiance and I believe eventually wife in NCIS. The more you know. And then Noah ends up basically taking out Marcus. He takes over the whole thing. Z, again, the gorgeous Flavia Watson, is the tech person. I mean, I don't want to appear, I want to be gender neutral here, but I mean, it's just they're the tech individual. And from there, basically the idea is Daisy Ridley is accused of taking out, or of, emptying a clip and trying to shoot people, but because she's ex-military, she knew how to shoot all the way down and miss every target, despite the fact that earlier she dropped something and it hit somebody way far down, so you're thinking that's going to factor in. But then she's shooting and somehow manages to avoid hitting any people, despite the goddamn fact that people are going to move, and yes, bullets travel fast, you're still going about 50 stories down. Nevertheless, she eventually, convinces the hostage negotiator, whose name I forgot to write down. I don't care, nothing against the actress. There's a sniper and a helicopter that ends up shooting through this window. Not enough, by the way. It shoots enough bullets so she can stab at this thing and do this. It does not look like she's stabbing. And she eventually breaks through the goddamn window, with the help of Michael. And then she's all upset. No, she goes to take everybody out. She takes out this one blonde, it's like the generic blonde, or generic version of the blonde character that Jeremy Irons had in his group in Die Hard with a Vengeance. I forgot her name. I thought it was the girl from Indiana Jones 3, but I could be wrong. And from there, takes her out, takes a couple people out. And, oh yes, also Noah has something attached to him that is like a pulse sensor. And there's explosives attached to all these hostages. And the idea is if his pulse stops, then they explode. So that's something to factor in. They get basically, they get in a battle, boom, 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 boom. All this crazy shit's going on. It's absolutely ridiculous. I cannot believe what in the world is actually happening with all this. And then you have somebody else that wants to chime in here and try to rescue this review, this fiasco of a review. So you have this. So here's what I was telling him on the way, to doing this review. He had the pulse monitor. Daisy Ridley's battling him. This window got busted open at one point. Michael is trying to help battle and stuff like that. And during the interim, she manages to get the pulse monitor. And she gets it. And then he falls down. And nobody said, oh, I hope that's not a hostage. Remember Die Hard. Die Hard. Adopt, don't shop, by the way. But yeah, she gets that and deactivates the pulse monitor and saves the hostages and stuff like that. And her and Michael are okay. And then there was an earlier callback to them talking about Thanos collecting the stones, the Infinity Stones and all that. And yeah, I made this movie probably sound a lot more interesting than it actually is. It really isn't that interesting. I was telling you that, and you're staring at me thinking that you are going to get me to do something else. So anyway, yeah, this movie gets an F. It gets an absolute F. It is terrible. It is terrible. And you like Daisy Ridley. You like Daisy Ridley. Didn't you? Really? That's what we're going to do? Okay, well anyway, yeah, it gets an F because it's terrible. It's really terrible. So agree, disagree with what I said. Like, share, subscribe. Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Rickland. This is Sir. Yeah, and I'll see you soon.